explaining to me all of the reasons he thinks this game is mispriced and there is real value on New England.
Value?
And he said, no, to win. And he says, I jotted it down and then I checked with him if it was okay if I quoted him on this.
I love this guy.
He said, when you really look at it, the Patriots defense is the better defense in this game.
Oh.
He mentioned a stat that you've mentioned a few times. They didn't lose a game all year when they had Milton Williams and Christian Gonzalez. He talked about how he thought they had that second Bills game in hand and then got a little conservative. And I'm standing there looking at the man who I believe might be the sharpest sports bettor I know. And I'm like, sweet Christ, sorry. He sounds just like Wildes.
This is unbelievable. I can't wait to meet this guy.
And it really rattled me. Because I'm like, Wildes, who his analysis, it's kind of like, you know, what's the cartoon where the mom's voice is all wah, 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 wah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
Charlie
Peanuts
Brown.
or whatever.
Yeah. It's the teacher.
Yeah, the teacher. That's kind of what happens when, like, Wildes is like, no, here's the data. I don't really hear that. I hear, like, you know, bells and whistles.
Yeah.
Stuff.
I'm like, it was snowing. I just keep on saying that.
But this person, I respect their opinion.
it's literally,
and
I've said that stuff.
they're saying the same things. So I paused, and then I asked myself, as much as I respect Nihar, is he sharper than me? Seattle's defense is better than New England. Seattle's coach annihilates young quarterbacks. Seattle has the only true superstar skill player in the game. Seattle's quarterback is playing the best of his life, while New England's quarterback is doing a Trent Dilfer impersonation thus far in the playoffs. Seattle played a gauntlet of a schedule. New England played the softest schedule in 25 years. Seattle 27, New England 17
That one hurts.
is my official prediction.
Okay. That is his official prediction. Yeah. I didn't think I knew Nick was doing like a slow play because he was like, there's no way he was going to tell that whole story and then be like, and that's why I'm picking the Patriots. There's no way. Yeah, that guy, whatever his name is, Niehawk, I don't know whatever his name is. He lost me as soon as he said that the Patriots defense is actually better than the Seahawks defense. Guys, this is why you got to really watch the games. I say this all the time and it almost feels, it's something that I almost want to say less because I don't want it to come off like I'm talking down to anyone, because I'm never talking down to anyone. I'm truly not. I always see this as us like all hanging out in a circle for some weird reason and we're all just talking sports. This is never like me like on a throne being like, allow me to explain everything to you. But like so I don't do anything with, I don't care about the spread. I don't care about trying to find value or things of that nature. I don't do any of that type of stuff. No bets, no nothing, not my thing. You want to do that? By all means do it. But nothing, I have no desire. But so much of the sports landscape has become that. And so I get exposed to that thought process, especially with like Nick and you hear even like Colin and Jag, you know, they'll always have those conversations. And honestly, he was talking about the WW part. Like when people start talking about that type of stuff like that, I like tune out. I'm like, I don't care what you have to say because so much of it is just strictly mathematical and strictly like, well, this team is actually plus 7.3 against the run, and then there's actually a negative expected value again. And I'm just like, guys, you think that sounds so much smarter than it really is. And this is what I always say, like, if it was just straight math, if it was just straight stats, straight science, then you would essentially have like Wall Street out in Las Vegas. You would have the smartest people setting up shop there. And it would be like this whole massive industry, and that wouldn't even actually be able to exist because you would be able to make too much money. So all these guys that always want to just look at it straight, you know, analytically, it's like, that sounds good and it makes you feel good because obviously, like, if you could just look at the data and just do 1 + 1 = 2, that's awesome. That's fantastic. I love that. If there's a way just to look at things that way, 1 + 1 = 2. You know the formula, you know you got it, you know what you need to do, and you're like, all right, perfect, let's do it. Like, that'd be great. It's not the way it works. I mean, it's just not the way it works. It's not the way it works. It's not the way it works. It's not the way it works. These guys who are the most successful bettors in the universe, their like win percentage is like 53%. Like it's like just slightly above a coin flip. And it's like that those are like the best in the business. And it's like, okay, so when people make a statement like that, I'm like, you clearly are not watching these games. Then if you're going to tell me that the Patriots defense is actually better, then you're not watching these games. And then if you're going to use a reference point of like, well, they actually had the Bills beat, but then they got too conservative. What does that have to do with anything right now? I mean, seriously, like that has literally nothing to do with anything. That's why if you're now using the data from like week 4 and week 10 and like week 12, like I don't know what you're talking about. It's like I don't know what you're talking about right now. It's like it just, do you know what they did in weeks? And it's like, okay, Sam Darnold threw this many intercept. It's like, all right, whatever. I'm so back and forth in how I think this game will actually officially unfold. I have my beliefs, and I've said them as loud as I possibly can and as firmly as possibly can. Quite frankly, more firm than I. So I've only ever made videos around 2 Super Bowls. Yeah. 23, 24, and now this one would be 25. Obviously, we're in 26, but, you know, and I've never really given, like, super strong, like, this is exactly how I think it's gonna go, because I don't really believe in that. Like, Nick, I forget what he said. What did he say, like, 2017 or something like that? Like, I'm never a big believer in giving those types of predictions, because I think they're made up. I mean, honestly, I think they're made up. And it's one of those things where if you get it right, you're like, see, I told you this is what it's going to be. And if you get it wrong, you just kind of like laugh it off and like move on to the next topic. So I try to avoid that, honestly. But the strongest take that I can give, and I've said it a bunch of times, is that if the Seahawks play their best football, then the game is not close. That doesn't mean it's going to be 42-3, but I just like it will be a 2-score game if the Seahawks play their best football. And then the next step of that is like, even if the Patriots play their best football, it still will be like a 2-score game. As I sneeze on the truth. What can I say? Sneeze on the truth. And the only way that I see the Seahawks losing this game is if they're not playing their best. And the way how the Patriots do that, MO most importantly, there's 2 ways that I see them doing that is Drake May torching his legs. Not deep balls, not amazing throws to Stefan Diggs or Booty or anything like that. Not an amazing play call by Josh McDaniels. It's his legs. It's having that back-breaking run where everyone's covered and Drake May is able to avoid the pressure, and then he rips off like a 25-yard run. And now you see the hands on the hips of the D-line and whatnot, and they're huffing and puffing, and you know who I forget? I don't even know what channel this game is on, honestly, right now. I think it's Collinsworth. I think it is where he's like, oh man, that's just such a backbeat breakacre. This Seahawks, look at that. Everybody was covered, and the greatness of Drake May is on full display, right? Like, that's now when you start to have that team, like, frustrated, you know, huffing and puffing on their back foot. Now they're, like, a little bit more desperate to make a play, and then, you know, there you go. As well as, of course, disrupting Sam. Just disrupting Sam. Disrupting Sam. Disrupting Sam. Trying to get that domino to fall. Get that snowball to kind of just become an avalanche. Right? Those are the 2 paths that I see the Patriots' way of making the Seahawks not play their best. It's not all you do is got to lock down Jackson Smith and Jaguar. You got to shut down the run, or, you know, no. So yeah, I mean, like that's just how I've been seeing this game. And like I've said before, I mean, Super Bowls are a little crazy. I mean, I do believe, how do I want to phrase this? I believe all these guys get afraid and get nervous, and all of them, whether it's Tom Brady, whether it's Patrick Mahomes, like they've all have admitted it essentially. You know, anyone that's just like, oh, I'm not afraid or this or that, like that's always nonsense. I mean, Patrick Mahomes has even admitted about, you know, the nerves and whatnot, but I don't mean it in this sense of like you're now afraid to make a mistake or you're afraid, like it's just that the moment is so heightened, it's so magnified. I think unless you played a sport at a level that really felt kind of like life or death for you, you know, it'll be hard to maybe connect the dots, but I think like it could feel like a presentation, whether it be for school or, you know, for work or something, or public speaking somewhere, or going on a date, right? Like someone that you're like actually really interested in, or you got to like just randomly approach them. It's just that the volume is cranked up to the highest, and sometimes things get weird. I mean, it's gotten weird for pretty much every quarterback of the last like 10 years. Like you can tell you're like, and the broadcast does a good job of acknowledging that oftentimes where they're just like, so and so, this team just needs to settle down, or Patrick Mahomes needs to, slow down a little bit, Josh, whatever. They're always just like, they're just a little bit extra amped right now, or it's just because like the volume is it's just cranked up. You feel everything. And the problem with the Super Bowl is you're so extra amped and hyped and pumped up, but things actually happen a little bit slower. Not the game itself, but the way how everything unfolds. Because like pregame is insanely long. The commercial breaks are insanely long. Like everything is different, and like that's now hard to kind of connect with, because you're all fired up. You're all amped up, and like normally it'll be like a minute and a half, and like, all right, commercial break's over, like let's go, but now it's actually like 4 minutes. And you feel it as a player. The players have talked about this. That's like, a lot of times they talk about if they've ever been in multiple Super Bowls, they're like, yeah, that first Super Bowl, it's like didn't realize like how much things are like drawn out compared to regular season games, and it's just something that disrupts you. And so when you have all of those things, in a lot of ways, like anything's on the table. Anything's on the table. Like all of these players, the coaches, like anything's on the table, which is what makes us so great and so awesome. I just think that this Seahawks team has already had moments throughout the course of the season where it felt like the volume was really cranked up and maybe mistakes were being made. Whether it be all 3 games against the Rams, whether it be against team like the Bucks or whatnot. They've experienced those moments, and they've overcome them, and we could say the Patriots have to a degree, but like mainly like Drake May's fumbles in the playoffs. Not necessarily during the regular season or anything like that. And I think even in those games when there was like fumbles and turnovers, whatnot, like they were in control of all those games. Like they were in control against the Chargers, they were in control against the Texans, etc. So there was times that the Seahawks literally were out of control, and yet they were still able to find ways through it. So even in these moments when everything feels like extra hype, extra magnified, and things are kind of like not going in their direction, I think the Seahawks are just more poised to be able to overcome that. If you told me there's a team that's down by 14, and that team that's down by 14 ends up winning the Super Bowl, my only answer would be, well, it's got to be the Seahawks. It's got to be the Seahawks, especially because I think if the Seahawks do get a lead, then I think it's a wrap. I think it would be an absolute wrap. I think it would be, you could get an avalanche, or just a team that is completely set up to just maybe have like kind of like a similar outcome to what we had saw then with the 49ers and the Seahawks in the final week of the season, where like clearly the Seahawks controlled that whole game. The score ended up being like on the closer end, but like the Seahawks controlled that game start to finish, really. And they just were like, okay, we're just going to be smart. We're going to control the clock. We're going to play great defense, and that's it. And we're going to win the game and have the 1 seed and home field advantage. And we're going to end up in the Super Bowl, and here they are in the Super Bowl. So yeah, but it's just, for me, and I'll end here because Nick said when he's talking to someone like that who's really smart, it like gives him pause or whatnot, and he's got to like think about it this or that. And it's kind of funny because anytime I feel really, really confident in a take, my immediate reaction is, you have to figure out why you're wrong. Like, really think about how everything you're saying is actually completely wrong. Because I never want to be too confident in my takes. I never want to feel that like, oh, of course I know exactly what's going to happen, because I think that's bizarre. That's why I always say it out loud so often, because I also a reminder to myself. But it's just like, I went on this whole rant about my confidence in the Seahawks. But like, as I'm sharing every single take, the moment I say something, I finish a sentence in my mind, I'm immediately thinking, no, you're wrong. Like, nope, you shouldn't have said that. Why did you just say that? You shouldn't have said that. Well, that was dumb. That's not going to be correct. But it's just the way I feel right now. And in a lot of ways, I have to fight that doubt of confidence in a way. because it is how I feel. Whether it will unfold that way, up to the football gods, up to the universe. But I do think it's the most accurate, and I'll be making a Patriots video right now after this to really kind of try to drill down on the Patriots. But for me, for the Patriots side, it's just they really got to make Sam Darnold uncomfortable. Start to finish, really start to finish. It can't just be for a little bit, it's got to be start to finish. And I think Drake May's legs more than anything. More than him just being a distributor and this and that and getting the deep. They've been so obsessed with the deep ball. No, it's actually using his legs. Forcing the Seahawks to have to wrestle with that in a way that, they would prefer not to. But I'll talk about that in my Patriots video. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the Seattle Seahawks? You got Nick picking you. I don't know how you feel about it. You got Nick picking you. They were wrong. He was wrong last year. You got Colin picking you. He was wrong last year. You got Brew. I forget who he picked, so it doesn't matter. But I mean, yeah. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the Seattle Seahawks and the level of confidence surrounding them going into this Super Bowl? Can you believe it, man? We're here. We made it. This will be my official last Seattle Seahawks video prior to the Super Bowl. And it's been an amazing run. It's been an amazing ride. Whether they win or lose or not, I wish I said this at the top, but it was so awesome. So awesome to make all these Seahawks videos. It's so great when you believe in a team that not everyone's on board with. And even having to defend them and go up against it for just little random things, random games. It was actually a good game against the 49ers week 1. Or it was actually a good game against the, any of those types of moments, and just getting to know all the Seahawks fans in a way this season that I didn't really have. This season that the opportunity to do in the prior seasons, because there wasn't, a lot to do with there. So it's been really awesome, been really great. I won't be able to live stream the game. I will be with family, but my plan is still to make a post-game video immediately after the Super Bowl. So, kind of go from there, but I won't be able to live stream it, unfortunately. But, yeah, man, just been awesome. So definitely wanted to thank the Seahawks fans and anyone else who's obviously watching these videos, not just Seahawks fans. But I assume, especially for this Super Bowl video, there's going to be a lot of Seahawks fans out there. Yeah, looking forward to this game and looking forward to it. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think? As I already said this a minute ago, Seahawks, Patriots, let me know your thoughts. I read every single comment. So whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get to some discussions, let's get to some fights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We're building an amazing community here, and absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all generally feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much.